We celebrate your essence within each of us. We celebrate the love which connects us. We celebrate the work that we have done. Each of us is your ambassador, and we ask that you continue to let your light shine through our lives. Grant us all rest and renewal in the coming days, so that we may continue to serve you faithfully and without ceasing. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Marcy. A couple of technical things I guess we need to take care of before we start, since this is a little bit different format than we've done in the past. We are going to need to kind of share screens. Everybody, I don't know if everybody's familiar with the chat room. If you go kind of scroll down towards the bottom of the screen, you'll see a thing that says chat. We can share a lot of information on chat. We're also going to ask that unless you're actually presenting something, that you remain muted, so that we don't get a lot of feedback and overflow and on all the other things. Anything else I should add to that part, Pastor?
If we want everybody at this point to say that they're here in the chat. Like,
yeah. Oh, thank you. Yes. Yeah. If you could please go down to chat and head on over and just let us know that you're here, so that we have a record of who attended today. Wonderful. We'd really appreciate that. And if there's 2 or 3 of you there, tell us all 2 or 3 that are there.
And I would also just add, to reiterate, as we go through, if you're excited about something or if you give thanks for something, put that in that chat, because what we'll do is we get a recording of that later and we can kind of pull those together and share with everybody. That way, if you're excited about something or thankful, just write that, like, I'm really thankful for the work of this team, or that categories was a lot of fun this year. Those are just great ways of supporting one another, since we're not in person. That's a great technique to do that.
Yeah. Is there anything else that we need to talk about before we go ahead and actually start our presentations?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that I'm aware of either. So if there's nothing else to discuss, Pastor, it's your message.
Okay. Well, I brought a hat to celebrate a little bit. I mean, I didn't get to celebrate New Year's with anybody, so I thought we'd celebrate a new year with you all here on, I know, like, silly, but that's part of the point, right? I'm just so thankful for this last year with you all at Creator. Looking back at pictures, it almost felt like it wasn't possible that January last year was when I was installed, when the synod came over. I mean, I started in November 2019, but in January 2020 is when we all made those promises together that we would be faithful in word and sacrament, and how God is calling us together into the world. Of course, that changed rather quickly. I think on March 17th was our last in-person worship with everybody. Before we started, like 1 or 2 weeks, we tried just a skeleton crew, and then we went into, you all know my living room really well, and I look forward to one day having you also into my living room in person and having some community gatherings. We have got a great backyard, so one day we can run around and have some fun back there in person, not just looking at my television screen and how we figured it out. We've adapted so much this year, and I thank you all, because you've been gracious. Like, even today, the Facebook feed for worship flipped funny, and so you're looking at me sideways, and it cut out a few times, but I really haven't. It's just been graciousness that I've gotten from you all. You know that we're all doing our best, and it's a gift to me as your pastor that, you know, I'm doing my best, and I know that you're doing your best to connect to, because this is just a challenging way to worship and be together. But that was one of my clear focuses this year when everything changed, which is why I started the morning and the evening devotions, which we'll see in some of the other reports too. But the goal of those was to get the word in our ears and that hope that we have in Christ to us as many times as possible. Because I knew that this year we would need that, that being uplifted and also naming how hard it is. I've never been comfortable with Facebook Live, but when we had those fires and we were at the church, I was able to Facebook Live from the church and say that, the church is still here. We're right on the corner of where the evacuation was. And I knew many of you had been evacuated, and we were praying for you and walking with you. And while we can't do everything for each other, we can do a lot. And we're learning more and more what that means as a church. I was looking, I mentioned this number in the worship today. It's harder to know from like the whole year what our average worship was, but from September to December of 2020, we averaged about 260 people that were worshiping with us every week. I know some of you are worshiping on Zoom, some of you, like about 30-ish are in person, our Zoom families, Facebook Live, and then there are also YouTube. All of those kind of looking at an equation means that we are reaching a lot of people. But I also know that there's a lot of people that we're not reaching. So that's one of my looking forward to the next year is we have so many strengths and care for one another. And I know that you're just like having a reservoir of care. Like I want to care on people more as a congregation. And so we're going to put that to use this year, and reconnecting and inviting and just being church together in whatever 2021 means. And so there's other visions and hopes and dreams, but the bottom line is the word of God has gotten to us. We've baptized, we've married, we've buried, we've proclaimed God's good news, and we continue to have a faithful God to celebrate with. So I know we have a lot to cover today, so I'm not at the very end. I'll do an invitation to Lent as well to let you know what's coming immediately. But I'm excited. I'm thankful that I moved halfway across the country and have suffered like 5 plagues with you in the last year. And I'm hoping that that's the limit of plagues for at least a while. But I also know that you're a resilient congregation, and that God has equipped you all, us all, with so many good gifts and faithfulness, and that God will see us through. So thanks for being creator with me this last year. David?
Thank you, Pastor. Just a reminder, if you have comments or things you would like to share with everybody, just go ahead, please, and put those in the chat room so that we can all see them. We're going to kind of go in alphabetical order down through the various teams. I hope everybody had a chance to see the, can't think of the word, the annual report that Marion put together for us. That's really well done. And if you haven't had a chance to look at that, please do go online and look at that. And what we'll be doing is kind of following along a little bit with what is in that presentation. So our next group or people is the Adult Ed group. Is there anybody here that would like to speak for them? Hearing nobody, we'll just take a moment if you'd like to look on the screen there. Those are some of the accomplishments from Adult Ed over the past year.
And I'll just jump in quick and say, if this is an area that if anybody has an idea of a class or something, Sherry and I and anybody else wants to be on this team for this next year of giving some good ideas, you're welcome to share those ideas with us.
Thank you.
Can I just say something? Creator Cares actually did design a lesson plan for Adult Ed, but I can talk about that more when we get to it. So I just wanted to mention that we've got something ready for Adult Ed anytime we can do it.
All right. Our next group down then, again, going in alphabetical order, will be the Altar Guild. Is there somebody from Altar Guild that would like to speak to what's been going on with your group?
This is Linda Reed speaking, and Altar Guild, as you can imagine, was waiting, as it says, until services in the sanctuary opened up. our members. Many of them are older, so they don't feel as free to participate, but we are happy to support worship in whatever way we can, and we look forward to more full participation as the year progresses. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next,
Oh, I don't know who did it, but the church, even though most of us saw it on Zoom, was beautiful at Christmas. So thanks to all those people who were able to decorate for us. It made a difference.
And of course, the thanks goes to Donna Lovin and her team for the inspiration of the color scheme and the decorations and putting them all together. Altar Guild is just, in quotation marks, the Advent wreath, and she is very on top of everything to make sure that we're aware of the schedule as it's rolled out. So we're just one cog in that machine.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You guys have done some nice work, and the church was gorgeous at Christmas time. You didn't get a chance to come in and see that. It was really beautiful and well done. Our next group then, Children, Youth, and Family Ministry.
So on this one, Marion's bringing in a special PowerPoint.
The year 2020 began with our traditional high school Bible study meetings, confirmation classes, family Sunday school breakfast and lessons, and the Synod Youth Gathering for senior high and middle school students. Then COVID-19 forced us to think about ministry in new and different ways. We continued to provide family Sunday school lessons through emails and YouTube videos, high school Bible study sessions, and confirmation classes through Zoom. Due to the restrictions on large gatherings, we found an exciting way to still provide a vacation Bible school experience to neighborhood kids. Families received craft kits and links to music and story videos made by our young adult team using the theme, Who is My Neighbor? We confirmed 5 new young members into our congregation in October and presented Bibles to many of our students through thoughtful and creative ways. Halloween was also a creative endeavor, with a drive-through carnival passing out over 200 goodie bags. Along with the Women's Bible Study Group, the CYF team provided the popular Christmas wreath-making class with an instructional video by Leah Ramberg. Families met on Zoom in December to create their own gingerbread houses while visiting with one another. Our final project of 2020 was the production of the Children's Christmas Program, a patchwork of individual family videos telling the story of Christ's birth. It was inspiring to see how parents and children learned and shared the Bible story as family units. A big thank you goes to the Children, Youth, and Family team who gather monthly to envision and plan the wonderful events to minister to creators' families.
Into the world Mary's son came, born in a manger, Jesus his name. The angels came with tidings of joy, singing a song for the new baby boy.
Welcome to the world, baby Jesus.
2020 was a very unusual year for the family ministry at Creator. The year began with our traditional high school Bible study meetings and Oscar party.
Did we lose our connection?
Yep, Marion's looking into it.
And that was the
Okay.
end. I mean, we saw everything and yeah,
Okay, thank you, Terry.
sure.
All right. Is our next group that we'd like to hear from is our Church and Society group.
I'm speaking.
Nicole, are you going to speak?
You have to unmute.
I did.
No.
Are you going to, Paula?
Well, I wasn't planning on, but if you just show that we did a a film shot, so we can just go on with that. I did want to say this, that we were really, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Paula.
Oh, okay, I was going to say that regardless of the epidemic, we had a lot of volunteers throughout the year that helped with their service in making things happen. Like, for instance, the food drive, the people participated in that. We had a lot of people turn out for making sandwiches for Peace Lutheran. Any efforts that we promoted, there was a really great volunteers out there to help us with that. And the other thing I wanted to say is that we were led by Nicole this year. She did a wonderful job in keeping track of our funding. And the other thing is that the church was most generous in helping us provide services throughout the community. So there was an audio to this, so I'm not sure whether that's going to play or not. So I guess I'll just continue to talk. This is at Mountain View. We serve dinners at Mountain View and Peace Lutheran. This year we had to cancel those, but we're hoping to come back next year. Where's the next? This is Ida from Peace Lutheran, who actually does a lot in organizing it, and she makes it happen. She's a wonderful leader at Peace Lutheran, and we did manage to provide sack lunches this year for Peace Lutheran when we couldn't go there and serve ourselves. There we go. We also served, we funded New Hope and the missional team organized, and we served lunches at New Hope, I think once a month, and there was a lot of participation by the congregation. Habitat Humanities was served by some church members donating food to these college students who assisted Habitat for Humanity over their spring break in building houses in the Tacoma area. This is some of the food that we served. And I think there's a slide in regards to the actual students. They came from out of state. They were wonderful. They gave up their spring break to do this, and we were able to help them out. And then in the past, the congregation has donated layette items to Pregnancy Aid Auburn, which supplies baby items to moms as they leave the hospital to go home. With the missional team, in collaboration with the missional team, we had church members collect cleaning supplies. We collected 10 clothing baskets full and delivered them to Exodus Housing. And these supplies went to people who are participating and working with Exodus Housing. And then we helped the schools this year, basically Crestwood and also the Family Center, by supporting them with different school supplies. With Crestwood, we supplied headphones with the help of, I think, the foundation and pastor's discretionary fund. And then we also provided masks for kids.
Laptops.
Church volunteers made masks, and we helped Lions for Kids in providing masks, as they also provided clothing. And then the other thing we supplied was the lap tables, which helped, or lap desks, which helped kids who didn't have table space at home to use their Chromebooks, which was a really good benefit for children who were homeless or had limited space. And then every year we do volunteer gifts for Christmas families. And this year we provided gifts for families, 6 families in our community through the Family Center, through Exodus Housing, and through ECAP in Buckley. So in conclusion, thank you for supporting these opportunities with your generous gifts of time and money. We could never have done it without your willingness to serve our community. I apologize for not having the speaker part of this. I don't know what happened to it, but this is on my own right now. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Paula.
I don't know what happened.
Creator Cares team.
Yeah, so we are not a missional team. We don't have regular monthly meetings. We're kind of on call. And so the nice thing about Creator Cares is that we were kind of just out there. We were available when we didn't have a pastor, but we were kind of, what is it, a boat without a rudder? I don't know. But when Pastor Amanda came along, she met with us, and we really felt that now we could work along with her, which is really what we wanted to do all along. So one of the big accomplishments, after we couldn't actually go out in person and see people in our church community in person and pray with them, do communion, which we did do in the past. Pastor Amanda kind of proposed to us that maybe we could start telephoning people. So I was thinking, gosh, there's only, let's see, 4 of us. There's Cindy, Dion, Janae, and Vicky. So gosh, so 5 of us. I don't know how many people could we call. I guess we could divide it up. But so the whole thing with Creator Connects got started, and more people got on board, and many more of you took list of people to phone. And so that was a wonderful thing. And I think that's something that could certainly be ongoing. The other thing that Cindy, Dion, and I, we were saying, well, what can we do now? Well, there's a book that we used when we were going through Stephen Ministries, Don't Sing Songs to a Heavy Heart. So we decided this would be a great book to use in conjunction with adult ed if they would like it. It's a book just about how to deal with people who are suffering in any kind of way without using the tried and true little things that we use, like God is with you, and God doesn't give you too much that you can bear. So this is a book that actually helps us as Christians really help others who are hurting. So we have developed the lesson plan. So we are willing to, and we think that this could be something that could be needed at any time. So we are definitely ready and willing to work with adult ed to get that going. So thank you for supporting us.
Thank you, Deborah. Our next group is the Creator Men's Club. And oops, I'm sorry. The Creator Foundation is up next. So do we have somebody from the Foundation Fund that would like to speak?
Well, this is Donald. The accomplishments we did this year is distributing about $38,000 to various community groups. We tried to focus a little bit on people in housing crisis, and were able to help out in that way. But as far as the actual list of projects are concerned, it's in the annual report. And all I would say is that we meet on a monthly basis, and we can always use donations to the foundation, though we always want to make sure that people understand that the foundation is something that your funding should only come after taking care of contributions to the church in the general fund. But we have a great time meeting, and there's nothing better than sitting around and trying to discern what God wants us to do, and trying to find worthy recipients of our foundation dollars. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. Creator Men's Club is up next.
Okay. As you all know, this was an unusual year. We started out having our first 3 months meetings, January, February, and March. And we met at 2 local area restaurants and a member's home with about a dozen people attending each gathering. And in addition to a hearty meal, members enjoyed spirited conversation and a nightly devotional delivered twice by Jochen Funk and in March by the Reverend Horatio Castillo. Then COVID-19 hit us with the lockdowns, canceled all our regular dinner meetings. Members still kept in touch by email and phones, and also volunteered for service projects at the church. These projects included helping the property team with cleaning up the church campus, cutting up and removing a fallen tree, running audio and video cables for the new video camera system, and cleaning the church building roofs and gutters. And all these projects were done while masked and keeping social distancing. Now, as we look to the future, we're anticipating once again going to and supporting our local restaurants as they phase into normal operation and working on other church and community projects. So that's what we've got going for this year, 2021.
Thanks so much. Our next group, and before they speak, I've had the privilege of watching the preschool staff this year planning and preparing to get preschool open, considering all the issues that we have going on in the country. And I just want to say that they've done just an absolutely fantastic job, and I'm really proud and appreciative of all their hard work. So Creator Preschool.
Andrea.
Unmute yourself, Andrea.
Okay, can you hear me? Yep. Okay, so this has been an interesting year. We started out with last January with the school on its way towards almost being full and really on a good trajectory for the school, and then COVID hit, and we had to shut the school down in March of last year, and we spent the April and May, we shut down in March, and in April and May, we basically sent the families their worksheets and their chapel lessons and did everything through emails. Not an ideal situation, but we felt we still needed to keep that connection with the families. And we ended in May, actually in June, we got the okay from the church to have each family come and graduate individually. So that took about a week to do all the families and take their pictures and the kids in their caps and gowns and the moving up kids, just at least to have a little bit of a celebration for the families and kids. And then Reagan Allen, Sherry Farrar, and myself, and Monty, a big thank you to you for all your support as well as our board president. We spent pretty much the entire summer putting our protocols together for hoping to open in the fall and waiting to get the okay. I think it was August before we knew for sure we could have preschool, but we had all the protocols in place, and some of those are we still follow them to the T, and that means all the parents drop their kids off outside, nobody comes in. When the kids come to school, they are hand sanitizing, taking their temperature. The teachers are wearing masks. Lots of sanitizing within the preschool, cleaning and sanitizing throughout the day. So it's something we're actually very used to now, and it's part of our day. But it took a little bit of getting used to. And so far, we've been blessed to, we've been touched. Some of our families have had COVID, but it has not come into the preschool. It's been taken care of outside of the preschool. So we're hoping to continue that with all of our protocols. I will admit that probably August, September, 3 teachers were all in our 50s. I had a few qualms about going in there with anywhere from 11 kids in a class to 16 kids in a class and being exposed. But we all, I think in a way, took a leap of faith to just do it and know that we had the support of the church, the COVID-19 team from the church. And I do have to give a big thank you. The teachers feel the love and the support of the church. So it's held us up through all of this. But now that we're into it 3-4 months, it's not something I think we really think about too much. When we see the joy on the kids' faces when they come in and how excited they are to be at our school, just makes it all worth it. So we continue, and we look forward with hope that the next few months probably are still going to be, we have to be very careful, and that we can end the year in May on a upbeat note. So that is our hope. And just real quickly, some of the things that we did this year at Thanksgiving, we have really generous families donated 3 full Thanksgiving meals to families in need in the area in our community. We had a toy drive through the Bonnie Lake Fire and Police Departments in December. And we are currently having one of our 2 fundraisers, tulip pots, that we're running through next Friday. So that's just a little plug on our fundraiser. But again, a big thank you to everyone for your prayers and your support for our school.
Thank you very much, Andrea. You guys are doing a really fantastic. Our next group, our fellowship team. Do we have anyone from fellowship that would like to speak?
I think their fearless leader might be in Hawaii right now.
Probably. Okay. All right. Well, we'll give you just a moment to kind of go through and see some of the things that they were able to accomplish this year. And then we'll move on to our next group.
I'm not on the fellowship team, but I would just like to say that having tried some of their fun nights, I really appreciate what they've done to bring a little excitement and a little interest in there with the game nights and things. They've been a hoot. And I know that like Lisa Wire, and she's wrapped her daughter Katie into it. And those folks have worked really hard to make that happen. So I just want to say from the outside, say thank you, because it was a lot of fun, and we really appreciate it. I don't want them to think their efforts were for naught.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. Our finance team.
Okay, this is Donald now with my green shade on. The finance team, as you can see from the information, is essentially our task is to really provide oversight and fiscal guidance to the congregation as a whole, and also provide the council with advice and guidance as far as maintaining a balanced budget and reserves. And so we have done that this year. We've surpassed our goal of having a reserve. Benevolence has been restored, and we also have started looking ahead, and that's the last bullet on here. Basically, our challenges, I think, going forward are managing the costs of maintaining an aging building, and also managing the fiscal implications of a full resumption of church activities, because one of the reasons that our general fund is in very good shape is because our expenditures are significantly reduced. And with the resumption of a normal existence, expenditures will obviously increase. And as a consequence, we want to be very mindful of the continuing need to have a goal of a reserve that provides us some cushion as we go forward. Other than that, I would say it's been a successful year, and I really am very, very thankful for the members of the committee who have really done a wonderful job in keeping us on the straight and narrow, as it were. Judy Anderson and Dion, who runs a wonderful meeting. She is known as the Iron Fist. Marcy Reed participates, Joachim Funk, and Chris Grigg, of course, and Jim Larson. And I function as the secretary, and our goals have been to really make sure that financially the church is on a solid footing. And thanks to the congregation, I believe we've been able to achieve that this year, and I look forward to moving forward. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Donald. Our missional church team, Cindy, are you going to present for them?
Cindy, if you'll unmute yourself, please.
Sorry, I thought I did. So the missional church team basically identifies opportunities and organizes support to help those in our community who may need assistance. Traditionally, we've provided hands-on help, but this year our church and the world is living under different conditions. So physical distancing has changed the way we worship and how we serve others. But we've really tried to be creative and look for opportunities to help while social distancing and everything that involves. We, for the last January, February, March of last year, we provided a monthly lunch at New Hope Resource Center, which is Help the Homeless down in Puyallup. And I think we had a great team that works on that. We provide lasagnas and a full hot meal, and it's appreciated and enjoyed, I would say. In the fall, we sponsored the ministry team leaders Zoom meeting. Normally we meet together in the fall in person to plan for activities throughout the year and see how we can work together and have fellowship. We did that same thing, but we did it via Zoom, and it was a fun activity. It helps us to stay connected. We also did a food drive for the Bonnie Lake Food Bank, and we made it a tuna and peanut butter food drive, and people were great in dropping off their peanut butter and tuna, and it went really well, and we observed all the social distancing requirements. We also, during one of our team meetings, invited Marilee Hill Anderson from the Sumner Bonnie Lake School District, and to share some of the challenges the schools are facing right now. And through that meeting, Pastor was able to connect with Crestwood Elementary School. And so we were able to sort of get that relationship established. And not only they wanted that relationship to see how we could work together in the community. We also are working on affordable housing, which is lacking in every community. And so we've done some advocacy for that. And there is a Synod team that is working on how we can increase affordable housing in our communities. So we'll probably be bringing that to you this year on things we can all do. Adopting a refugee family, was a Turkmenistan family, ended. Our help ended in June of last year. We spent the whole year, and everybody helped. We worked with 2 other Lutheran churches, and it was very successful to really supply everything that that family needed to get started in the United States. A family of 9 adult members who are now moving on with their lives and moving into the community, have employment and the things that they need to be successful. One of the other things that we've done is to work a little bit closer with church and society to direct service projects a little bit more towards those things that we're supporting financially. And that's been fun to work with them as well. So I'd like to thank everybody that's been on our team. We will be getting back together either by Zoom or in person here, I would bet, in the next few months, and we'll do some planning on where we want to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Do we have a representative from mothers of preschoolers, moms?
I don't believe Joanne Hall is here, so.
It's here. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So we'll take just a moment with the slide up there to let you see what they're doing. Restrictions on meeting in person has really kind of hampered their work, but they're still doing some good things. We'll move on down then to our personnel team. Is Judy on?
I think we were just going to have you'll read. We've had some changes in our staffing, and give thanks for those who have invested in Creator over the years, and with Godspeed have moved on. And we give thanks for Brian Hinckley, who has helped get our website up, and we're still working through some of the kinks on that, but we're thankful to have that finally up and running. And Marion, who's running right now our Zoom meeting and runs our vMix, we're thankful for, and that beautiful annual report he was able to put together for us too. So the big openings are still Sunday school coordinator and also music staff, but until we can actually sing in person in congregation, we're doing fine with Danny helping us with our music too. So that's our personnel update.
Property committee, Margaret.
Yes, I'm here. Again, the property committee had done a few things this last year, COVID being prime driver and limiting our abilities to do things. But as you see on the screen, that the main accomplishments were putting a new furnace in the classroom wing of to improve improved air filtration system. We've got a couple of portable air systems for the preschool area, which can be moved around as needed. And the property committee also was able to paint the classroom wing of the church, the hallway. If you notice, walk down that passageway, you know that it's going to be brighter. You know, it was kind of dull before, but now you can kind of see yourself a little better. The regular maintenance occurring throughout the year. We like to really give thanks to those members of the congregation that really pitched a hand. Especially want to applaud the men's committee for hopping in there and helping us out. Otherwise we're doing just fine, and we're hoping to be able to do more work over the summer here as required. As you probably know that our church has been skewered by a tree top, and insurance companies are working on getting that repaired. So far we got that patched. Again, thanks to volunteers for patching the roof enough to keep it waterproof while we're working on it.
Right. Thank you, Mark. Our stewardship committee.
So this year, I hope you can hear me. I got another modem with Comcast for Wi-Fi. I've been having so many problems on Zoom meetings. With stewardship, the last 5 years, we had brought in the annual campaign to put out the stewardship commitment pledge sheets, and did it for both finances and for volunteering. But because of COVID and sensitivity to people's financial circumstances during this difficult time, we took a year off and tabled that for now. But what I want to say is, in stewardship, we try to put a spotlight on what is happening in Creator, not only when we brought in a narrative budget so people would see where their money goes, but also on the weekly What We Love About Creator, and also when we were doing some messages during the offering, we were trying to bring to the focus some of the ways that people are volunteering, the ministries impact in different people's lives, so that people would have a greater understanding of what's happening in the church and where their money, how it's supporting the church. So what's incredible about Creator, as many have said, is even during COVID, the number of volunteers is just really inspiring, and the ways that we're impacting the community continues to be really incredible. And then the way people have stepped up financially to support our church. So we're very thankful for that. Stewardship is, as Pastor Amanda continues to express, is an act of worship. And so we're learning about that and trying to help people have less of a negative stereotype about stewardship as being sort of a push to ask for more money all the time, or pressuring people in some way, or obligating them, and keep it more in understanding this is part of our relationship with God. So we appreciate anything everyone has given and volunteered. And we have just been troopers with 4 members. However, this has been a challenging year, not only with COVID, but with health issues in some of our members. So it's been we've been kind of limping along. Pastor Amanda came in and saved the day with some great ideas, and we're looking forward to incorporating those going forward as we are able to meet together in person more. But we are really putting a plea out for anyone that's interested in joining. It would be wonderful to have more people putting our heads together on ways to showcase what's going on in Creator, so people are more aware and are maybe encouraged to get more involved in other volunteering or ministries. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Our next presentation will be from the Women's Bible Study.
Yeah, this is Janice Pendergast. I can speak for this. So we traditionally take a break during Lent from our Bible studies and kind of focus on Lent. And then this year with COVID, it was a challenge to get back. And so actually the first of the year, we were studying the upcoming Bible passages that were going to be part of the worship service, and doing that from now I don't remember what it's called, but it's a very specific way you look at the Bible passages and study that. So that was going along fine until we hit into not being able to be in person. So that was a big challenge. And when we kind of came back together, we started using Zoom as our technology to keep in touch. And traditionally during the summer, we do a book study. So we did do that. We studied The Island of Sea Women, which was just incredible book. I encourage anyone to read that who has not so far. And then with all of the unrest and everything going on, we really wanted to have something a little bit lighter. And so chose to do a book study on Where the Crawdads Sing. And then September, another book study. And at this point, we've kind of moved away from actually being a Bible study, but more a connection fellowship. We meet the first and third of the month, and through a Zoom meeting, and just really kind of connect with where we're at. It's a time to share. And then what we were really kind of missing was that prayer request and our prayer life together. So we are doing that as well. So that is what I anticipate that we'll be doing until we can get back together and meet in person. So. And what's fun about this is that we probably have about 18 women participate, but at any given Zoom meeting, it'll be a different combination of about 8 people. So it's really nice. It doesn't have to be attended every week or every session. So that's all I have for that report.
All right, thank you very much, Janice. Our last group for presenting today is our Worship and Music Committee. Is there someone here from Worship and Music?
I think I'm the default one on this one. For Worship and Music,
Okay.
the center of what we are and where we are centered in Christ. And so we've adapted a lot this year. Danielle has been wonderful being able to get us some MP4 recordings. We didn't want to hear the Castillo Olsen family singing out of tune for the whole year. We just did it for a few weeks there. But it's been wonderful. And she's also been able to do parts and things like that, but also been giving thanks for John Williams and Dean Ramberg and Scott Fleshler and who else? Tammy Funk and others who have shared. And our youth did a Oh Holy Night as well. Daniel Schreiner also did one for us too. So those other voices that have come in and had that additional ability to record things for us to enhance our worship life has been a real gift to worship. Today, having for instance, even Donald recorded the psalm for today, and we were able to have that be part of our worship. So even though we can't be all in the building, we can add our pieces and enhance worship in that way. Give thanks for the camera that was purchased and the wiring and sound and all those who researched and pulled cable and then have been troubleshooting with the vMix. That has been wonderful to be able to have move towards a really crisp, stable service that way as well. We've also been able to come back to the sanctuary. So I give thanks for the Creative COVID-19 group that really looked at what can we do, what can't we do when we are ready. We're still watching those restrictions to see when other ministries can continue to open up in the building as well. But thanks to everybody who's come in and kept as best as possible, the temperature check and the 6 feet. And while I don't love humming to hymns, I'm thankful that we can be there and do that in that way. So we will continue in those different ways. And while I'm at the worship and music, I'll talk a little bit about Lent before we do a few pictures here too. Lent is coming up on the 17th of February. So that will be Ash Wednesday. And for that, starting, I believe, on this coming Sunday, I'll have ashes that I've put in some little 3-gram containers. If you are one that worships at home, you can come and pick up those so you have them available for Ash Wednesday. There'll also on Ash Wednesday itself be some drive-through ash. I'll have a mask, face shield, and a Q-tip, single-use Q-tip. And no, I will not be giving COVID tests with one end and applying ashes with the other, just ashes. And we can have drive-through ashes twice for 2 sections of the day, and then there'll be worship in the evening. Also putting together stations. So we're gonna have the Holden evening, but it will be asynchronous, I guess is the way we'll have it. I'll pre-record the sermon for the Wednesday nights and put Holden, and that will be available. They'll premiere each Wednesday evening for you to worship at home. And then in the sanctuary for the Wednesdays in Lent, there'll be stations of 7 symbols of ashes. So there'll be an experiential prayer station, and you'll need to sign up for it and have one family at a time throughout the day for all those, I think it's 7 Wednesdays in Lent that you can come and have that prayer experience. And then one of those stations will be pulled out a week for the sermon on those Wednesdays. And also I'm preparing Lent. I can't decide if I'm going to call it Lent in a box or Holy Week in a box, but a gift to families that you'll be able to come up or have dropped off at your house of symbols of the Christ's passion for a devotion and prayer experience also that you'll be able to have at home. So those are some of the things to look forward to with Lent, and give thanks to God that we're creative and we'll find ways to worship together.
Thank you, Pastor. Did you say we have a slide presentation?
Yeah, there are a few pictures. So Marion, if you'll show the pictures.
Good old days.
Yeah.
think that's the last picture.
Last picture. All right. Thank you, everybody who attended today and presented, and just from myself and speaking for the council, I would just like to thank every member of our congregation for your continued support, your prayers, and the hard work that you have continued to do, even though it's been rather challenging. My biggest prayer is that next year for the celebration, we can actually all meet together again and share some food and some fellowship. So thanks everybody for coming today. Pastor, could I get you to lead us in the Lord's Prayer?
Sure. This is part of the fun Zoom part. So if everybody will unmute yourself, and it's supposed to not sync up because, yeah. So let's all have our voices together and pray the prayer our Lord taught us. Our Father,
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done
As it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Wage of those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the power and the glory, forever and ever. Way later.
That was crazy.
Was.
Thank you all so very much for coming today. We really, truly appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye. Have a good week.
Have a good week.
Take care, everybody.